Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers, sisters, viewers, friends of Iqra TV. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk. I'm your host, Iqbal Bana. As I keep saying to you every week, week in, week out, I have a pleasure of coming into your homes. Hopefully, you also have the pleasure of hearing what I have to say and meeting my guest as well. Because I try to bring to you issues of interest, issues that affect all of us in a day-to-day our lives as well. And this is why I try to do this program in a way that resonates with people in the world, across the world, but issues that particularly affect the Muslim community. Not just the Muslim community, but the Muslim community in particular. Today, I have a special program. Normally, we don't do this on a bank holiday, but I'm doing this specifically because I heard some really tragic news last week, and I wanted to share that with you. But before I go to my guest, who's going to share with us he's from Palestine. He's a medical doctor working in the emergency field, and he lives in the UK at the moment. And he told me that 85 members of his family have been killed in the last year or so. And that, when I heard that, I wanted to make sure I share his pain with the rest of my viewers as well. So before I introduce him, can I also say that on behalf of this channel and myself, I want to pay my condolences to the Catholic community who have today lost a very, very important person in their faith, and that is Pope Francis. Pope Francis was an advocate for Palestine. He wanted to see peace in his lifetime. He had asked for a ceasefire months ago, and he specifically asked Israel to stop the bombings that were killing innocent people and to allow food aid into Gaza and other places in Palestine as well. His loss is a loss not just to the Christian community, but to humanity and the world as well. Because as I say, he was a humanist. He wanted to make sure he was on the side of those who were the less fortunate in our communities, and he championed refugees and asylum seekers as well. And his loss will be felt throughout the world. And our Catholic community in particular, and the Christian community generally, our deepest condolences to you. Now, as I said, I have a very special guest on my program today. His name is Dr. Abdul Al-Farah. I hope I've said that right, sir.
Yes, it's correct.
Welcome to my program, Dr. Saab. Thank you for joining me. When I met you last week and we had a discussion, and you said to me that 85 members of your family have been killed in Gaza. I mean, that really shocked me. There's just one, we know over the last 12 months, 13, 14 months, well, no, even longer than that, we know that over 50,000 people have been murdered, as has been called. There's a genocide going on, which the majority of the world has described as genocide. There is now this imprisonment of millions of people, that they're not getting any food, medicine, or shelter. And we know that, that over the last few months in particular, every voluntary organization, human rights organization, has described Gaza as being in dire straits. And this is a deliberate policy, according to some, and by many, that this is a deliberate policy to try and make sure that Gazans flee that area so it's been cleared either for Mr. Trump or for Mr. Netanyahu. Now, this is a tragedy that is happening in front of our eyes, and we as Muslims and those who are non-Muslims who believe in humanity, who believe in equal justice for all, who believe that people have the right to live where they have lived for thousands of years and should not be displaced, there should be no ethnic cleansing, would all want to try and do whatever they can to try and help the people of Gaza and Palestine, Palestine and Gaza in particular. What we have not seen recently is what is happening in the West Bank, which is some quite sort of displacement going on over there as well. And I'm sure Dr. Abdul Al-Farah will be able to share some light on that if he can. So, Doctor, thank you for coming today. My deepest condolences for losing all these members of your family. It must be really, really traumatic for you, and there are others like you as well, living here, not being able to do anything. And I know you're a great campaigner for the cause of Palestine, but you are also, I think you've got some connectivity with other campaign organizations that are going on in this country as well. So, how long have you been here in the UK?
Thank you to start with. Thank you for inviting
it's
me,
our
Mr.
pleasure,
Iqbal. for your program. And also, I want also to extend my condolences to the Christian community as well for Pope Francis. It's a big loss. And as you said, he was a very advocate for the Palestinian cause. Actually, the last message that he spread, he said, they promised us to stop the fire, they promised us to stop the genocide in Gaza, and they didn't allow aid to come through. So feel sorry for his loss. And as you mentioned, I've been here in England for nearly 13 years now.
Wow.
I
Yes.
came here. Before that, I've been in Spain for 23
Oh,
years.
right.
So that's why I mentioned before. So my first language is not English. My second language also is not English.
Yes.
It's far away.
Spanish
The Spanish, the Arabic and
Well,
Spanish.
you speak very well, mashallah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So yes, in the last 16 months, it was a big tragedy for myself and for
Of course, yes.
millions of Palestinians that they live in Gaza. I particularly lost more than 85 members. I remember when we started this genocide, I was going to marches with a flag where I had like 25 names of my family lost
Right.
written there. But after that, as the number getting bigger, I couldn't wear it anymore.
And these are people of all ages, I presume.
It is almost children and women.
Also, most
Almost
children and women.
more than 65% are children and women.
Right. And these are innocent people.
They are innocent people.
Yeah.
They are all civilians. They are all civilians, the ones that we lost there. I mean, in particular, I can mention that in particular case, my cousin, that he was in his house with his father, his mother, 3 sisters, all the children there, all of the husband there, and airstrike just destroy all of the house. More than 25, probably I can remember, probably 14 of them, they were just children. The whole 3 generation completely lost.
Completely lost.
Nothing remained. No videos, no pictures, no WhatsApps, no graduation events. Nothing remained, just dust.
It looks like Israel is trying to wipe out whole families and generations.
There are hundreds of families being wiped off of the completely from the registration.
Right. I mean, obviously, this is a real tragedy. And, you know, we in the West have been witnessing this. And you've seen me do a number of programs. I think I've probably done about 10, 15 programs on this particular issue in the last 2 years, even before the 7th of October. And we have already said before, the 7th of October, what Hamas did, if you know, is a tragedy, and it's totally un-Islamic. And we condemn the actions of those who did it, whether it was Hamas or somebody else. But the response from Israel has been totally inhuman and totally unacceptable. And most of the world has said that that is the case. Yet we don't see much happening from our government, that the government is not taking the actions that you would expect them to take under normal circumstances, as they've done in Ukraine. You know, why is it that we have a duplicity policy in this country? And one of the things I heard along last week as well was that there are people working in the health sector in this country and the care sector, not just the health, in the medical side. But if there are people working in those sectors and they're displaying sympathy for Gazans or Palestine, that they are being told that they should not be doing so. I mean, have you come across that message from your colleagues, your friends and colleagues?
Definitely, especially in the start of all of this tragedy.
Right.
A lot of them being mentioned that we shouldn't speak up.
Right.
We should be silent. And a lot of my colleagues being banned from working. I mean, a lot of them, they went to the GMC and they had to stop working.
They had to stop working?
Yeah, definitely. There are a lot of cases, public cases. I mean, Dr. David, one of them, I can't remember the surname.
In the south, but he won his case, didn't he?
A lot of doctors, they've been stopped from working. And after that, they allow them to work again. But definitively, there were a lot of fear. I mean, if you remember with previous legislation also, they wanted to avoid us from holding the flag. It's just not about the health sector, it's everywhere. I mean, holding a Palestinian flag, they want to consider it as a criminal act. Subhanallah, so looking for a children dying in thousands and there are no condemnation at all. from the government, and just for holding the flag,
Mm.
they wanted to condemn that, and they wanted to tell us with anti-Semitic movement, which is not the true. We holding this movement, Palestinians, non-Palestinians, Muslims, Christians, Jewish, non-faith, and we all, it's a love movement.
I
mean,
agree with
when I'm here, I'm not talking about Palestine as a Palestinian. Obviously, I am very, very affected with the problem, but I'm talking here as also one of the humanity, a voice of the voiceless in Palestine, that they can't speak, they can't get the message across to the audience or the people outside. So yeah, I am a Palestinian, I am a doctor, I am a human being, and here we are, we try to.
And I think one of the things
cross the
people
message.
don't realize that there is not, Gaza is not just Muslim, there are Christians there.
Definitively, yes.
Right? And Christians are also suffering as well.
Definitively, and in this specific dates,
Yes,
where they are
Easter.
celebrating the Eastern, they are completely missing. I mean, they are brutally silent. They are brutally asked to move from Palestine. One of the most, the oldest church in the world, it was in Gaza and been completely destroyed. And yeah, they try to avoid all of this Christian community. I mean, Palestinian, we are Muslim, Christians, and originally Jewish as well. This is our, that one, when they tell us with anti-Semitic, this is not true. Part of our ethnic, it's Semitic, it's Jewish, we are Semitic.
Yes, I remember, I think President Macron last year, when he went as well, he was, they tried to block him as well from going to the church, the Basilica, the Church of Mary, as I think it was the Church of Mary, Maria al-Salam, and he insisted that he had the right to go there, and then the Israeli Defense Force then relented. So you can tell that it is not just the Muslims, although the Muslims being the majority are suffering. And as you said, more than 20,000 children have been murdered in this, the tragedy. Over 50 to 60,000 people have been killed and they've died, and millions have been made homeless. And they're moved from pillar to post. One day they're told, this is no longer a safe area, go over there. So they move over there, and they start bombing those areas, and then they're again moved as well. I'm sure there's many people here listening and watching this program, and I'm sure you'll have some thoughts as well on this issue. If you have so many thoughts, please ring in. You know the phone number, 01274 214 299. It appears on your screen. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your ideas, and what can we in the United Kingdom society, whether Muslim or non-Muslim. As Doctor says, I have been in places where members of the Jewish community have also campaigned against what is going on. In fact, last week we had 36 members of the Jewish Board of Deputies, the highest Jewish organization in this country, sign a letter saying that they condemn what is happening in Gaza at the moment. And they're now being criticized by other Jewish members, they're saying that they don't represent us. But 36 members of the Board of Deputies have actually written a letter, an open letter, to say they do not support the policy that Israeli government is pursuing. And it seems, doctors just touched on something, that anyone who does want to condemn whatever is happening in Gaza at the moment is then labeled as a Zionist. Now, let me make it absolutely clear. Me in particular, and this channel, does not condemn the Jewish community per se. What we are campaigning against is Zionism rather than the Jewish faith. We've had members of the Jewish faith on our channel, and they have been very clear, and they're very vociferous in their condemnation of what is happening in their name, because they do not support it. So, Doctor, 85 members and more of your family and other families like that, I mean, how do they survive at the moment? Because we know that Israel is not allowing any aid coming in. Homes have been destroyed. They're having to live in tents. There's a suggested rebuilding program. Ceasefires have been promised, but they've not been delivered. As you said, Pope Francis was told that there will be a ceasefire, and they lied to him as well, and that ceasefire never materialized. I mean, mashallah to the people of Gaza, all I say is may Allah give you even more strength, because their resilience is unbelievable.
True, true. I mean, there are no more Eids being allowed in the last 60 days.
Right.
People obviously struggle. A lot of my family is starving.
Yeah.
Many have been missed. The communication is not the best. I mean, I barely could message them sometimes in the WhatsApp group, and has to wait for few days for them to get some internet connection. Many of them, where they are, they have no internet connection. They have to move somewhere area where they can get this type of connection and respond back to say, we're still alive. The situation is more than horrible. It's the worst situation since all of this tragedy, all of this genocide started 16 months ago. They live by every type of survival acts that they can do. So many of them, they live from solidarity between each of them. So a lot of them, they do grow something under the tent, and they can share it with the neighbors. Some of them, they can use a different way to survive. Like if they don't have a water, they have to dig very deep to get that type of water. If it's raining, they can get a bit of dirty water to drink from. So the situation, it's really very, very, very awful situation.
So in terms of aid going in, obviously,
it's
there's no aid going in, is there?
No aid going on for a long time.
Right.
They're still having some small organization where they can still managing on the north or in the south of Gaza. But this is like, as I said, this is like a drop of water in a huge desert.
Ocean.
In the big ocean, yeah. So it's very, 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 very
and obviously being a person of medicine, the medical emergencies over there must be absolutely dire.
Yeah, it's horrendous. You can see it from a lot of doctors that they've been in Gaza, like Dr. Taher, that he also recently come back from Gaza, and they describe the situation. It's more than horrendous. I mean, I've been working as an emergency medicine physician for nearly 15 years of my life.
Right.
And I can't imagine the situation, how it is there, and how the doctors there, they just giving everything.
It must be terrible.
It's terrible. We recently commemorate 1 year from the loss of the orthopedic Dr. Al-Burj, that he being kidnapped and killed on the prison of Israeli prison. And he refused to leave his patient, as a lot of doctors did before.
Yeah, they do,
so they leave their families, and they are working 24 hours in the hospital just trying to save people. I can't imagine an emergency room where you can get 20, 30 severely injured, burned, with wounds at the same time. Every 5-10 minutes you can get this number in Gaza. How the hospital are coping, how the doctors are coping. It's really a nightmare. I can't imagine when I'm working in the hospital and a poorly injured coming, a child or adults or anyone, and we have all of the team working tirelessly to try to save this life. I can't imagine having 10th at the same times every day with no anesthesia.
And they're being bombed at the same time.
Bombing at the same time with no anesthesia, no medication. A lot of children had to be amputated legs or arms or limbs without any types of painkillers or any anesthesia. So it's really, really very devastating situation.
I'm sure mothers who might be watching this program, listening to Dr. Abdullah Al-Farah, just the thought of your child having to go into A&E and being treated there, and going there and being told that there's no anesthesia, there's no medication, there's no painkiller, and the child may need to have their leg or arm amputated. Just imagine the pain that mother and that child will be going through.
Children coming with 70-80% of burn, heavily burned, and there are nothing that they can stop the pain. It's really horrendous. As you mentioned, I would imagine, not as a Palestinian, as a human being, every child that I could see in the last few months, if it was my child, what we can do about it. A couple of days ago, I saw a film about a father in Gaza that he buried his only own child, that he was waiting for him. He was waiting for a children for 18 years of his life.
Mashallah.
And
He
this
lost
was the only one that he had. He lost him. And he buried him, and with shaking hand, shaking voice, he was telling him, I'm not letting you alone. I will let a companion next to you so you wouldn't feel fear or afraid about the situation. And he put next to him an unborn baby, also killed in the same strike, just to keep him next to each other. What the mom that she was waiting 18 years for a child, what she can do now? This cruel,
and they've got nobody else to look after them as they grow old as well.
Yeah, this cruel war that they could allow this to happen to the Palestinian children. So it's not just about Palestinian issues, it's about humanity, it's about all of values. Israel didn't destroy Gaza, didn't kill just the children in Gaza. They destroy a lot of more things. They destroyed values, they destroy our ethnical, or what we call